Here with New Brewster's Millions of Rants, and this is Happy New Year 2025, and this is the annual kind of year-end recap of the previous year, looking forward to the new year. I'm going to talk about some gear that I acquired this year, and just kind of celebrate the channel, celebrate, New Year's is here, and just kind of a review. I've had lots of, people asking for, specs on my guitars and what equipment I use, so I kind of use this opportunity in this video to kind of share, some of those answers. And definitely this year, I definitely was really obsessed with Goblin, progressive rock, space rock, and that definitely kind of steered and influenced some of the material on the channel here. I did release, my 20th instrumental album, Nilbog. That was back in October, and that was definitely a byproduct of listening and just obsessing over Goblin. I read, an entire book about them and released the CD back in October. So I want to thank everybody for supporting my latest album. This definitely was very successful, and I'm really proud of this. And that's basically me right there on the CD, talking with my hands and just being a freak. But definitely I love the band Goblin, and that's why I put this album together as a tribute. So once again, thank you for supporting me, back in October with Nilbog. So earlier this year, back in the summer, I acquired a ton of vintage Guitar Player magazines, and I bought a few auctions on eBay, and then I actually found somebody about an hour away that gave me a great deal on a big stash. I think I bought like 180 just in that one transaction. But I've been going through and reading, and definitely, very inspired reading those classic Guitar Player magazines. And I'm really sad to see the print version of Guitar Player disappear and end this year. But definitely going back and picking up all those vintage guitar players, I've just been soaking it up and soaking up the inspiration. So farewell, Guitar Player. One thing I wanted to add to this video was my favorite album that was released this year. So keep in mind, I did spend a lot of time and money this year buying classic 70s prog rock albums from people like Goblin and Camel and Gentle Giant and people like that. Definitely dove into some space rock too. But definitely the new album that I picked up this year that really caught me off guard, and I've been spinning it ever since it came out back in October, but that's Blood Incantation with Absolute Elsewhere. If you haven't heard that album, I posted about it on Facebook, but what a great progressive death metal album. There's some elements of electronic music in there. There's a member of Tangerine Dream that makes an appearance on a couple tracks. Definitely a great album, and it's really picking up some hype and attention lately. So check that out, Blood Incantation. So as far as gear that I acquired this year, earlier in the year, back in the spring, I picked up an Electro-Harmonix C9 Organ Machine, and this definitely had a big appearance on my album Nilbog. This supplied all the organ and keyboard sounds that you hear on my album. And this is a really interesting and inspiring pedal. As soon as I got it and hooked it up, immediately I was like, this is cool. Very different, very unlike everything else I have in my studio, which was a big reason why I was checking this out. But then it's very useful, and definitely if you want to hear it, I did make it kind of a demo video back, and I posted it here on YouTube, also posted on Facebook. But if you really want to hear this kind of, push through the paces, Check out my album Nilbog and you can hear this all over the place. I will get to the guitar that I bought back in October. I'm going to feature that again. But I wanted to talk about my guitars actually because I have new guitars in my studio with some upgrades. I also have a lot of new viewers out there that have been asking like, what are you using? What pickups are in that guitar? What is that? So this is technically a Fender Floyd Rose Classic Stratocaster from 1996. It used to have a Floyd, also used to have a maple neck, and I've talked about that before here on the channel. This guitar is definitely my Frankenstrat. You know, different neck, you know, locking tuners. I've changed the pick guard. This is the preloaded, you know, Fender pick guard. Shawbucker and 2 Fender noiseless. I also upgraded the electronics. That was a couple years ago. But really the only original parts of this guitar are the body, the jack plate, and the neck plate back here. Everything else I've changed over the years. But this is definitely my good buddy. Like, we're really good friends. This thing's been on the road. You know, hundreds and hundreds of gigs and lessons and all kinds of stuff. You know, my irreplaceable Strat. Next up, this is my Gibson Les Paul Standard. This is a 2000, so it's technically almost 25 years old now. But I love this guitar. This is definitely one of my favorite guitars in my arsenal. I will have this, you know, forever until I, you know, stop breathing, basically. But I did install locking tuners. I did upgrade the electronics and the pickups here. That's a JB Humbucker and Pearly Gates from Seymour Duncan. This guitar jams. Next up, this is the Paul Reed Smith S2 Vela, and I picked this up in 2020, so it's almost 5 years old now. And this is actually a really great guitar. I did change the tuners to these kind of black knobs. I did upgrade the electronics. I changed the pick guard. I left the neck pickup, but the bridge pickup is a Seymour Duncan JB Humbucker. And this was a big surprise. I love this guitar. It's very comfortable, very playable, and I've definitely featured this a lot on my channel. Great guitar. Next up is my Fender Telecaster. I picked this up a couple years ago, and this is the American Performer, I believe. It's just the basic American standard kind of Telecaster. And I really haven't changed much. I've changed the pick guard, and I also installed locking tuners here from Fender, but I haven't changed the pickups or electronics yet. I'm meaning to. But actually, I like these pickups. It's very snappy and very telly, you know, like or whatever with the tone. And I just haven't really changed very much on this guitar yet. At some point, I'm sure I'll change the electronics and maybe, you know, upgrade the pickups. But, you know, so far, great guitar. And then last but not least, this is the new guitar I picked up back in October, a D'Angelico Premier Mini DC. And this also filled a void in my studio. I didn't have anything semi-hollow body or like this, and I really wanted something like this. And for what it is, which this, I know this is not an American-made Gibson or something like that. It's not even a real, you know, American-made D'Angelico. But for an import guitar, literally made of laminated maple or whatever, this is a cool guitar. It has lots of vibe. It's very comfortable. And, you know, I've only had it for a few months, but I've been using it a lot and grabbing it a lot. And it's just definitely very different than the other guitars I have in my studio, which is why I wanted it. I haven't changed anything so far, but I know at some point I'm going to change the electronics, and I'm also going to change the pickups. I like the bridge pickup, but I'm not really that big a fan of the neck pickup. It's a little bit too bassy, which maybe they were going for that jazzy kind of vibe, but it's almost too much low end. So I would like to get some nice pickups to kind of put in this and maybe upgrade the electronics, and I'll do that as soon as possible. Now, as far as my latest purchase, I have posted about this here on YouTube and over on Facebook, but I purchased a Kemper Profiler Player, and I'm currently waiting for FedEx to deliver my amp. It's technically running late, but it's here. It's supposed to be here today. And in the meantime, I thought I'd share this image with a bunch of rigs and amps and setups I've had over the years. I've had lots of different amps and equipment, but currently this is what I'm using, you know, as far as what you've seen here on my channel. And I'm really excited to add this Kemper to my studio. I've heard great things. It's got glowing reviews. And I think this is the direction I want to move as far as the modern age. But just for viewers out there that have asked, you know, like, why don't you get a real amp? Or why are you using, you know, Behringer or whatever? I just wanted to share this to show you. I've had lots of amps over the years, but this is currently what I'm using. And I'm really excited to check out this Kemper. Hey, good news. The Kemper just arrived. Thank you, FedEx, for finally delivering this bad boy. And I'm literally just opening it right now. I haven't even opened it yet. And Whoa, there it is. It's actually, I knew it was going to be small. It's actually a lot smaller than I thought. It's kind of hard to tell, like from pictures and stuff online. But yeah, that's tiny. Don't scratch it. That's some very funky plastic there. You can tell, like the way it feels. It's like real stretchy. Anyway, let's get that out. Yeah, look at this little guy. Not sure what's going on there. But yeah, there it is. Look at that. It's like a big like distortion pedal, or you know, fuzz pedal or something. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Like this will be my rig if this actually works out. Yeah, and those knobs feel cool. All right, so here's the ultimate test coming around. I'm gonna hook it up and we're gonna give it a test drive. Here we go. Yeah, a couple things here. Unfortunately, Kemper didn't include the funky USB cable so I could connect it to my laptop. I'm gonna have to make an unexpected trip to Best Buy. It uses like a USB-B cable, like for printers. So I'm gonna have to grab a different, you know, cable to hook it up. So I'm kind of flying blind. I hooked it up and started kind of playing around with it. It definitely has some really interesting tones. The clean tones are phenomenal. But I'm having a little bit of trouble finding like a dirty tone that I like. That one's pretty cool. But I'm gonna start going through some of the presets here, which I'm, like I said, kind of flying blind. I can't actually see like what tone I've selected here, but just kind of like moving through the presets. It definitely has some really interesting tones. There's one of those clean sounds. Definitely the clean tones on this are phenomenal. I'm really impressed with the cleans. I'm gonna definitely have to spend some time finding some dirty tones that I like. But you can see it has a lot of different varieties. As soon as you hit a different patch or rig, you know, it's totally different. Not a really big fan of that. It's really saturated. But I have found a few that are a little smoother than that. It's got that really like chainsaw kind of bright, you know, attack. That's a pretty cool tone. Okay, like I said, I'm kind of flying blind. I don't have the cable to connect it to my laptop, and I'm not really sure what preset I'm on because there isn't an included list. Shame on you, Kemper. You should include the cable and also have a list of all your presets. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically just jam and fly through them just to give you a sample of some of the different sounds here. So there's this one, whatever this is. Kind of a clean tone right there. Like I said, the cleans are really good on this. Like get this like really aggressive saturated tone there. Whoa. Another clean tone. So I like how the patches are set up, and I'm joking, of course, where there's like a really quiet clean tone and then this crazy chainsaw tone. Some clean tones. And there's some really cool like effects and tones. I just wish I actually knew what preset I was on or what rig I was on so I could actually, you know, understand what I'm doing here. So far I really like the cleans and like the kind of semi like crunch kind of tones. The high gain sounds aren't really, you know, doing anything for me. I'm gonna have to kind of like either change those or maybe download some different rigs and profiles. But the cleans and the in-betweens are really cool. But there's lots of variety too. I mean, I think there's something in this box for everybody out there. Just a matter of spending some time with it and kind of dialing it in too, I think. I'm not really digging the heavy gain tone. I mean, it's okay. There's tons of different sounds here, so I'm, like I said, kind of overwhelmed because I don't really know what I'm doing since I don't have the list in front of me. But so far, it's cool. Those clean tones are knocking me out. Really interesting sounds here. Alright, that's going to wrap this episode of Brewster's Millions of Brands with Happy New Gear. And honestly, I'm going to spend the new year, New Year's Eve here, working and spending some time kind of getting to know my new gear. And I'm a little overwhelmed and kind of caught off guard because I didn't have the right cable. Therefore, I couldn't look up the preset list. I guess I could have found that on the internet. But anyway, I definitely, like, first impression, it's cool. The high gain tones really aren't doing anything for me, but it's the clean and in-betweens that I was honestly kind of looking for anyway. Those are perfect. They have these Gilmore kind of sounds and stuff. I'm definitely going to have to kind of replace some of those crazy high gain tones because I'm not playing Pantera and stuff normally. But if I do, it's nice to know I can actually get some of those sounds and those tones. But I'm going to definitely spend some time today and tomorrow playing with this. I might run out and grab like the right cable so I can connect it, maybe download some additional rigs and profiles. But so far, it's interesting. I don't know if I'm really blown away or not, but it's really cool. Definitely the fact that, for its size, there's so much, hiding in that little box. And I'm gonna definitely need some, spend some time kind of getting used to it and just wrap my head around this, Kemper Profiler Player. So anyway, I want to wish everybody a happy New Year and happy holidays, and I'll be back before you know it in 2025. So happy New Year and happy new gear. Thank you.